Hello everyone. Today we'll have a new lesson about programming languages that starts with letter E. E. E is an object-oriented programming language for secure distributed computing created by Mark S. Miller, Dan Bernstein, and others at Elixir Communities in 1997. E is mainly descended from the concurrent language Joule and from original E, a set of extensions to Java for secure distributed programming. E combines message-based computation with Java-like syntax. A concurrency model based on event loops and promises ensures that deadlock can never occur. Is is a general-purpose parallel programming language. It is designed by Steven Erikson Sennett, a researcher at Yale University, the Institute for Advanced Science and Engineering in Silicon Valley, California, the École Nationale Supérieure des Sciences de Paris, and the Pierre and Marie Curie University, the Science Department of the Sorbonne. ECPLI PLI, or Programming Language 1, is a procedural imperative computer programming language developed and published by IBM. It is designed for scientific engineering, business, and system programming. It has been used by academic, commercial, and industrial organizations since it was introduced in the 1960s and is still used. PL1's main domains are data processing, numerical computation, scientific computing, and system programming. It supports recursion, structured programming, linked data structure handling, fixed point, floating point, complex, character string handling, and bit string handling. The language syntax is English-like and suited for describing complex data formats with a wide set of functions available to verify and manipulate them. EasyTrib Blocks EasyTrib is an information retrieval and data management system designed to simplify programming. C8 Technologies markets nearly 200 software products. Some of the best known are ACF2 Security, Top Secret Security, Datacom Database, EasyTrib Report Generator, IDMS Database, Intertest or Debugging, Librarian, Panvalet, Library Management, and TLMS Tape Library Management. EC EC or ECC is an object-oriented programming language defined as a superset of the C language. EC was initially developed as part of the Ezhil Cross-Platform Software Development Kit or SDK project. The goals of the language are to provide object-oriented constructs, reflection, properties, and dynamic modules on top of the C language while maintaining C compatibility and optimal native performance. EC currently relies on GCC or CLang to perform the final steps of compilation using C as an intermediate language. There are, however, plans to integrate directly with LLVM to skip the intermediate C files. ECMAScript ECMAScript, or ES, is a general-purpose programming language standardized by ECMA International according to the document ECMA 262. It is a JavaScript standard meant to ensure the interoperability of web pages across different web browsers. ECMAScript is commonly used for client-side scripting on the World Wide Web, and it is increasingly being used for writing server applications and services using Node.js. Edinburgh IMP Edinburgh IMP is the development of Atlas Autocode, initially developed around 1966 to 1969 at the University of Edinburgh, Scotland. It is a general-purpose programming language which was used heavily for systems programming. Expressively, IMP is highly similar to ALGOL and includes all the ALGOL-style block structure, reserved words or keywords, and data types such as arrays and records. It adds to ALGOL-style languages a string type or an array of characters, although these have a pre-declared size, and built-in operators for string manipulation and character handling. EGL EGL or Enterprise Generation Language, originally developed by IBM and now available as the EDT or EGL development tools, open source project under the Eclipse Public License or EPL, is a programming technology designed to meet the challenges of modern multi-platform application development by providing a common language and programming model across languages, frameworks, and runtime platforms. Eiffel Eiffel is an object-oriented programming language designed by Bertrand Meyer, an object orientation proponent and author of Object-Oriented Software Construction and Eiffel Software. Meyer conceived the language in 1985 with the goal of increasing the reliability of commercial software development. The first version becoming available in 1986. In 2005, Eiffel became an ISO standardized language. The design of the language is closely connected with the Eiffel programming method. Both are based on a set of principles, including design by contract, command query separation, the uniform access principle, the single choice principle, the open-close principle, and option operand separation. ELAN ELAN is an educational programming language for learning and teaching systematic programming. It was developed in 1974 by C.H.A. Koster and a group of the Technical University of Berlin as an alternative to basic teaching and approved for use in secondary schools in Germany by the Arbeitskreis Schulprojekt. It is in use in a number of schools in Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Hungary for informatics teaching and secondary education, and used at the Radboud University, Nijmegen, in the Netherlands for teaching systematic programming to students from various disciplines and in teaching courses. The language design focuses strongly on structured programming and has a special construction for stepwise refinement, allowing students to focus on top-down design and bottom-up coding. Elixir Elixir is a functional, concurrent, general-purpose programming language that runs on the Beam virtual machine used to implement the Erlang programming language. Elixir builds on top of Erlang and shares the same abstractions for building distributed, fault-tolerant applications. Elixir also provides productive tooling and an extensible design. The latter is supported by compile-time metaprogramming with macros and polymorphism via protocols. Elm Elm is a domain-specific programming language for declaratively creating web browser-based graphical user interfaces. Elm is purely functional and is developed with emphasis on usability, performance, and robustness. It advertises no runtime exceptions in practice, made possible by the Elm compiler static type checking. Emacs Lisp Emacs Lisp is a dialect of the Lisp programming language used as a scripting language by Emacs or a text editor family most commonly associated with GNU Emacs and CMAX. It is used for implementing most of the editing functionality built into Emacs, the remainder being written in C, as is the Lisp interpreter. Emacs Lisp is also termed a Lisp, although there is also an older, unrelated Lisp dialect with that name. Emerald. Emerald is a distributed, object-oriented programming language developed in the 1980s by Andrew P. Block, Norman C. Hutchinson, Eric B. Joule, and Henry M. Levy in the Department of Computer Science at the University of Washington. Emerald was designed to support high-performance distribution, location, and high performance of objects to simplify distributed programming, to exploit information hiding, and to be a small language. Epigram. Epigram is a functional programming language with dependent types and the integrated development environment or IDE, usually packaged with the language. Epigram's type system is strong enough to express program specification. The goal is to support a smooth transition from ordinary programming to integrated programs and proofs which correctness can be checked and certified by the compiler. EPL or Easy Programming Language. Easy Programming Language or EPL is a visual, compiled, multilingual proprietary programming language. EPL is somewhat popular in China because it features a full Chinese environment. The language has traditional Chinese, simplified Chinese, English, and Japanese variants. In addition, it is cross-platform as it currently supports both Microsoft Windows and Linux. It is object-oriented and structured. EPL or Eltron Programming Language. Eltron Programming Language or EPL is a printer control language used to produce printed labels for various Eltron model printers. It was superseded by Zebra Programming Language or ZPL after Zebra Technologies acquired Eltron. EPL2 is a markup, line-at-a-time language suitable for printing on media of reduced space, and although it supports bitmaps, its use is usually for labels including barcode information. Erlang. Erlang is a general-purpose, concurrent, functional programming language and a garbage-collected runtime system. The term Erlang is used interchangeably with Erlang OTP or Open Telecom Platform, which consists of the Erlang runtime system, several ready-to-use components, mainly written in Erlang, and a set of design principles for Erlang programs. S. S is an open-source command line interpreter developed by RocketSys and Paul Hart that uses a scripting language syntax influenced by the RC shell. It was originally based on code from Byron RocketSys' clone of RC for Unix. Extensible shell is intended to provide a fully functional programming language as a Unix shell. It does so by introducing program fragments and braces as a new data type, lexical scoping violet, and some more minor improvements. Azure. Azure, named for MC Escher, a master of endless loops, is a declarative programming language that supports both functional programming and logic programming models, developed by J. W. Lloyd in the mid-1990s. It was designed mostly as a research and teaching vehicle. The basic view of programming exhibited by Azure and related languages is that a program is a representation of a theory in some logic framework, and the program's execution or computation is a deduction from the theory. ESPOL. The Executive Systems Problem-Oriented Language, or ESPOL, is a programming language, a superset of Algol 60, that provides abilities of what would later be termed a system programming language, or machine-oriented high-order language, or MOHL, such as interrupting a processor on a multiprocessing system, or the Burroughs large systems were multiprocessor systems. ESPOL was used to write the Master Control Program, or MCP, on Burroughs computer systems from the B5000 to the B6700. The single-pass compiler for ESPOL could compile over 250 lines per second. ESPOL was superseded by NEWP. Esterel. Esterel is a synchronous programming language for the development of complex reactive systems. The imperative programming style of Esterel allows the simple expression of parallelism and preemption. As a consequence, it is well suited for control-dominated model designs. ETOIS. ETOIS is a child-friendly computer environment and object-oriented prototype-based programming language for use in education. ETOIS is a media-rich authoring environment with a scripted object model for many different objects that runs on different platforms and is free and open source. Euclid. Euclid is an imperative programming language for writing verifiable programs. It was designed by Butler Lampson and Associates at the Xerox PARC Lab in the mid-1970s. The implementation was led by Rick Holt at the University of Toronto, and James Curdy was the principal programmer for the first implementation of the compiler. It was originally designed for the Motorola 6809 microprocessor. Euler. Euler is a programming language created by Niklas Wirth and Helmut Weber, conceived as an extension and generalization of Algol 60. The designer's goal was to create a language which was simpler and yet more flexible than Algol 60. That was a useful programming language processed with reasonable efficiency that can be defined with rigorous formality. Available sources indicate that Euler was operational by 1965. Euphoria. Euphoria is a programming language created by Robert Craig of Rapid Deployment Software in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Initially developed, though not publicly released, on the Atari ST. The first commercial release was for the 16-bit DOS or DOS platform and was proprietary. In 2006, with the release of version 3, Euphoria became open source software. Open Euphoria is currently available for Windows, Linux, Mac OS, and 3 flavors of BSD. Use Lisp robot programming language. Use Lisp is a Lisp-based programming system built on the basis of object orientation. It is designed specifically for developing robotic software. The first version of it ran in 1986 on Unix System 5 or US Station E20. CMS Exec or Exec. CMS Exec or Exec is an interpreted command procedure control computer scripting language used by the CMS Exec processor supplied with the IBM Virtual Machine or Conversational Monitor System or VMCMS operating system. Exec was written in 1966 by Stuart Madnick at MIT on the model of CTSS Runcom. He originally called this processor Command, and it was later renamed Exec. CMS Exec has been superseded by Exec2 and Rex. All three, such as CMS Exec, EXEC2, and Brex continue to be supported by the IBM CMS product. EXEC2 EXEC2 is an interpreted command procedure control computer scripting language used by the EXEC2 processor supplied with the IBM Virtual Machines System Product or VMSP operating system. Executable UML Executable UML or XTUML or XUML is both a software development method and a highly abstract software language. It was described for the first time in 2002 in the book Executable UML, A Foundation for Model-Driven Architecture. The language combines a subset of the UML or Unified Modeling Language, graphical notation with executable semantics and timing rules. The executable UML method is the successor to the Schler-Mellor method. Executable UML models can be run, tested, debugged, and measured for performance, and can be compiled into a less abstract programming language to target a specific implementation. Executable UML supports model-driven architecture (MDA) through specification of platform-independent models and the compilation of the platform-independent models into platform-specific models. Ezhil Ezhil in Tamil language script is a compact open-source interpreted programming language originally designed to enable native Tamil-speaking students K-12 age group to learn computer programming and enable learning numeracy and computing outside of linguistic expertise in predominantly English language-based computer systems. That's all for the discussion about the programming languages that start with letter E. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.